For this 2024 Spencer County Bicentennial celebration, these community members portrayed various local historical figures. Mark Elliott Houston became a lawyer at age 28 and served in the Kentucky legislature for 4 years. He served on the Third Constitutional Convention in 1850. He's buried in the Taylorsville Pioneer Cemetery, where his grave is marked by the tallest monument. Ree Miller worked in retail businesses in Taylorsville from 1935 to 1972. She and her husband J.L. Miller opened Miller's UBC Food and Dry Goods Store at the corner of Main and Jefferson Streets in the late 1940s. Here she tells about selling rolls of linoleum rug.
They were sold in a roll and in different sizes. So if you needed an 8 by 10 or a 10 by 12 or whatever, and they came in different patterns. So you could have patterns that might go in the kitchen or might go in the bedroom or some in the living room maybe. And you bought it in a roll, and I can remember they carried them out and they would tie them to the car, lay them on the rearview mirror, not the rearview mirror, the outside mirror, you know what I'm trying to say, outside. Lay on that, tie it up on the wood string, and you
Sue Perry Shelburne, born 1883, taught school in Spencer County for 42 years at the Black Culpeper School on Little Mount Road. She walked the 2 miles to school from her home on Railroad Street, where she lived with her parents, Perry and Amanda Minor Shelburne. She is buried at the Taylorsville Pioneer Cemetery.
I started teaching that information is not there. I didn't. Very young. And I retired, and I still lived in my family's home the entire time that I was home, till 1962. So I lived with my mom and dad during that time period. The house that my dad actually built, he built it in 1880. And the land was deeded to him from someone you'll get to know right next door, Miss Cox. She was a widow, and for $1. So she deeded him the land, and he built the house. Eventually, he ended up adding on to that house. The design is called a saddlebag type of house. I had to look that up. It's a saddlebag type of house, and by the early 1920s, he had already added a second story with a nice wraparound porch. That is the house you see here, and the location was where the current library is now, across the street, and it faced the railroad tracks. The school I taught at was the Culpeper School, the Black Culpeper School. It was located on Little Mount Road, and you had to walk 2 miles there and 2 miles back every day to school, which is only 4 miles round trip. Yeah, that's so bad. Everybody in her family, of course, to the census, everybody knew how to read. Her parents also worked here in Taylorsville. They were custodians. They were custodians at Taylorsville High School, also the Presbyterian, the Methodist Church.
Sarah Ann Tutt Cox, 1822 to 1898, was the wife of a wealthy Taylorsville landowner, Isaac Shelby Cox Sr. They had 14 children. She inherited all the land, which included 63 acres on the east end of Taylorsville, in 1873 when her husband died. She and her husband and 2 children are buried at the Taylorsville Pioneer Cemetery.
Here, and our first daughter was born in 1838. You'll want to remember that, because in a minute I have some interesting facts about her and her husband. In 1837, we bought our first lot here. It was lot number 5, and it was on the west end of town. We bought it for $1,000. Well, I guess I should say my husband bought it. We had our daughter here, Melvina, and she was born in 1842.
My name is Malvina Emma Cox. I was born on October 18th in 1842. My mom was 19 and my dad was 24. I got married in 1860 to John Henry Grove in Taylorsville. I had 6 children, and I lived to be 81 and died in Louisville.
So that's one of my daughters. And then not long after she was born, of course, we kept having babies, and unfortunately, several of our babies passed away. And in 1850, we bought another lot in town. It was lot number 59. My husband bought it from his uncle. His name was Jonathan Cox. In 1850 also, my husband, remember Isaac Shelby Cox, he was a carpenter as well. And he actually remodeled the second courthouse. He was paid $283 by the sheriff to remodel the inside. But unfortunately, as you know, that courthouse burned down. So in 1850, we had another daughter, and she's here with us today.
Hi, I'm Idabelle Cox. I'm the 10th child out of 14. I was born on June 1st, 1854. My mom was 31 and my dad was 40. I married Abram Anderson on December 1872 in Taylorsville. I lived in Jefferson County and had 2 sons and died on August 20th, 1915 at the age of 61.
All right, so as you can see, we're very proud of all of our children. And in real life, these are my daughters.
Where's the other 12?
You know what? They couldn't be here today. Well, remember, some of them passed away and several of them moved away. They just couldn't be here today. And that's a lot to keep up with, you know. I'm just not real sure where they went. So my husband, he just kept purchasing land. He bought some land with our first daughter. She married, and I did a lot of business with my son-in-law, and we just kept purchasing land. We bought some by Salt River and Brashears Creek. Then he just kept buying land. He bought lots 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, and 119 from a man named John James. He paid $7,000 for that land. Now this land had a steam flour mill, a carding mill, and a 2-story red brick home. And it was a nice land. Probably the most significant purchase of land was bought from James M. Allen, and we bought it from him and his wife Caroline, and it was 63 acres. We paid $2,500 for it. The location of this land is pretty important. It's actually the entire east end of town from where the light is now on down. This would eventually be where Crescent Roller Mills would be later on, and Polk Brothers Tobacco Factory. That land you probably just heard from down here we sold a little part of it to Perry Shelburne, and they built the house, which you already heard about down there. We sold it for $1. It was about an acre. Sold it for $1 to Perry Shelburne, and they built their house and had a spot there. That house actually shows up on the 1882 Atlas years later. It was unfortunately recently torn down, so it's gone. I eventually sold off all my land before I passed away. I passed away in 1898, and my husband and I are buried with 2 children in the Pioneer Cemetery. So come see us sometime.
Thank you so much.